Right.
So accountability without victimizing yourself,
Right.
super, super difficult. Vulnerability
Right.
without victimizing yourself, that's shadow work, y'all. Right there. Right there. Right
I was
there.
gonna say what, especially in the beginning of this path, what I noticed was that there wasn't that people were not clear about the direction of what you need. It was just go to the light, go to light, go to light. And it was
Yeah.
like, what, wait, hold up. So now we go, it's sort of like religion where you got to be all good. And every time you do one,
Yes.
you're gonna pray for your sins because you're a bad fucking person and you're gonna be
Yeah.
in this loop of, oh my God, I'm so horrible. And I was like,
The
wait a minute,
guilt.
if we came here for an experience, then jealousy, anger, hurt, sadness, envy, all of this shit is a fucking experience. Just don't stay there. You're meant to feel this shit.
That,
You're
that,
meant to
that, that.
understand it and feel it.
So like I think that there is an all-encompassing, especially like we're Americans, okay? Like we are culturally, we've been in America. I don't know how long have you been here, but I'm an American.
Whole life.
And like, you know what I mean? And so I can speak for American culture and my experience, which is that our childhood, our lives are definitely there's a disconnect before with emotions and being comfortable with our emotional awareness. The
Yeah.
who, what, when, where, why is really irrelevant because there's a myriad, a plethora of reasons of why. I don't want to
Yes.
go into conspiracy theories today. That'll be the next time that I'm talking about Ariana. Not this time, okay? We're not going to talk about flat Earth today, son. All right. So besides all that, I am not a flat earther, just saying.
Hey, I went down the rabbit hole of flat earth.
Listen,
And I was
I have
actually
been there. I thought it was an Egyptian pharaoh. Like, don't even get me started.
I said
like,
they actually have some really good points. I
they
may
do.
not believe in flat earth, but I don't know if I believe in the round.
This is what I'm
either.
saying. Listen, I got a meme for that. We'll post it. All right. You guys are gonna be like, oh, that makes sense. It's definitely not real. So here's the thing. Like, you have this environment that you are born into, and you are completely, absolutely 100% affected by it, y'all. You're all affected by it. So where your culture is, where you grow up, it matters. And as Americans,
Oof.
it's not just men that are taught to not have feelings and acknowledge them. It's every single one of us in very different ways. So now we're on the other side of COVID, which I believe was a mass awakening aspect of things. That's my perspective. I genuinely feel like it was make it or break it. Make it or break it for humans. 100%. Besides all of that, here you are, you're an adult, you're 14, you're 7, it doesn't matter. All of a sudden you're having feelings. And you're told, shut your feelings down. Go to work. Do this. Do that. They don't matter. Go to therapy. Therapist goes and re-traumatizes you, doesn't know what they're doing. Pray it away. Go to church and pray it away. You go to church and then they make you feel bad for the thoughts and the feelings that you have. So there's no healing and no understanding of what you're experiencing. And you get basically it's fear, shame, and guilt. That's and cover it up, right? So you get there and you're gonna have no wonder you think the earth is flat. You are trying to literally justify the things that you're experiencing because once you wake up, there is no unsee button. You don't get to go back to go night-night. Wakey, adios, off you go. And that's probably when you're meeting someone like me and Ariana. Like, that's just the way that it is.
Right. Like real shit.
It's the real shit. Like, she says you meet people when they're at the lowest. Let me tell you, that's your lowest point. When you realize your whole life has been an absolute lie and nothing that you were ever taught was ever the truth. Scary part. That right there is the most vulnerable place a human being could ever be. I'm sorry. It's the truth.
It is.
That right there, I can see it. That was my awakening. I can remember the feeling, that epiphany of, you mean I'm not crazy?
That
you
part.
mean what I thought? That one time? The 10 times? Every time I got in trouble for the truth that I was speaking? All of those things, I was right. That is an extremely vulnerable place. that is where Ariana and I, we heal the most. That's where we know we have the same timeline. We're doing different things. That's how we help people. Let me tell you something. Phoenix Rising is an understatement. You gotta burn. I have gone down. It's gonna make me cry. Like, if I think about all the things that I did to myself to get myself here, it's insane. I'm the most stubborn soul.
Mm.
If you don't get it either, once you wake up, you can get your ass handed to you. Universe is like, bye, bye, bye. Like,
Those
you're gonna
slaps.
just have to it is the most irritating. Eventually, you will get it. I promise.
Yes.
You will get it. All you have to do is get there. What do you think? Do you think that it's always traumatic events that really wake people up? Ari, like,
hell no. You know how many traumatic events I've had in my life? We talked about the tower. You know how many fucking towers I've had in my life?
Yeah.
And I just kept going like,
it's not happening. That's my mom. I love you, Mom, but it's the truth.
I'm just gonna go start over, and then life's good, and then all of a sudden life is falling apart. So no, I think sometimes it's we were programmed. We're programmed to not believe, and so it's hard to believe something that you were programmed and pushed to fucking not believe in. And so
that's what I'm saying.
Everyone knows you become an adult, and now it's like reality, and you got to go to work, and you got to do this, and you're very serious, and this, that, and the third. So it's like,
not your fault. That's my point. It's
I think with some people, you understand at some point. I always knew I was different. I always knew I didn't fit in. You know, you were talking about how you did not fit in. I'm mixed. So I didn't fit in. And I just had this podcast that I did. It says mixed children are not, they're tolerated, not supported.
Totally.
And I did a whole thing where I talked about it because I grew up in a Black neighborhood. I was tolerated, not supported. Spanish people didn't think I was Spanish enough. Why? Didn't speak Spanish. So
this is what I'm saying.
White people knew I wasn't white. Again, you're
who's Black, your mommy or your daddy? Like, literally, my childhood.
It doesn't fucking matter. First of all, who the fuck?
I'm brown. Leave me alone.
So again, I understand that because again, I was tolerated, but I was not supported.
Well said.
Okay. So when you grow up like that, first of all, you have a lot of shit going on that you don't fit in, and it's for a purpose, of course.
It matters.
Purpose. But when you don't fucking fit in, one of the first things in my path, I did a past life regression. And one of the questions I told the facilitator to ask my higher self was, what ancestors do I tap into? Because I wanted to know who was talking to me. I wanted to know who. I wanted to know, who should I talk to?
Yeah.
Who the fuck?
I'm talking to somebody, but I don't know what I'm talking to. Give me something to sort of talk to. Sure.
Plus, coming from a place of not feeling connected to nobody.
Yes.
You know what? My mom and dad moved away from all the family. So it was just my mom, my dad, and my brother. That was it. Yep. That was all of us. Nobody else, right? So coming from that, I wanted to know, like, what the fuck? My higher self was like, pick one. Pick any. You got many. And I was like, you fucking bitch. You couldn't give me like one thing.
It's not fair. Like, I feel like my higher self is so cruel. Like, and she's ghetto as fuck. Like, I did not grow up in the ghetto, and my soul is so ratchet. Like, I share a birthday with Cardi B, and let me tell you, when she came out, I was like, yes. Like,
if you heard my higher self, she's just very
clear
to the point. And
no clearness. Me
like,
too.
I thought I was no fucks given.
No,
really, like,
you should hear what we have to deal. Y'all don't understand. Like, this is filtered.
There's no, like, she doesn't give an explanation.
No,
it's yes or no, and that's what I said. There's nothing else.
I feel like that's the whole point, though. Is like, that's what we're always trying to achieve. This is such an interesting conversation. I love that this is where this is going, because it's really resonating on a deep level, which I can project that out with people, but to receive that is another experience for me, just because from the vibration, no ego, just where I'm at in my life.
Right.
And I'll tell you this. Identity matters. And
yes,
especially because we're Americans, it really matters. It may not be like that in other places, but literally, like, my high school, like, Blacks were in one corner, Asians were in another corner. Like, you could say that there was an inclusive environment, but that's really just like the school district trying to get funding. Like, let's just keep
Right.
it 100,
It's bullshit. It's
And
bullshit.
here I am. My mom she's like a lighter green-eyed blonde hair version of me. Okay. And my dad is like, imagine a Jewish person.
Right.
Okay. So like,
Right.
you look at my parents and you look at me and my brother and you go, how is this happening? And my
Right.
brother's darker than I am.
Mm.
And trust me, there was no milkman. I know this from freaking
Right.
ancestry.com. Thank you. Not that I ever questioned it, but
Right.
I got asked what I was on it all of the time.
All the
And I
time.
didn't know how to answer.
Right.
But as a little girl, I'm going to be super vulnerable. Crazy what I'm going to say right now. Shout out to whoever YMCA camp counselor this was. Okay. Don't know. I could see her in my mind. I must have been 5 or 6 years old. And she asked me, and she was a mixed woman. She asked me, who's black, your mommy or daddy? And I answered just bluntly, I think it's my mommy. Not knowing the true answer to that.
Right.
And I will never forget it. It's in the back of my mind, and if it came out later that I have huge percentage of French Creole and African roots and things like that. But I literally had no identity. But inside, I knew which side it was coming from. It had nothing. I had no concept of brown, black, white, or anything. I was too young for that. Grew up in Los Angeles. Didn't really have a perception of that at all. I just answered so clearly, so bluntly like that. I understood. And that's exactly where it came from. My father's like 96% Ashkenazi Jew. Like, there's nothing going on there. So I grow up and I can completely relate to your story. I have no idea who I am. I'm a big girl in LA, Entertainment Business Central, in Christina Aguilera, Britney Spears' time is just the way it was. And so I am completely out of my element. I have no idea who I am, but psychic as hell. I mean, I can't even tell you. I would come home and I'd tell stories and nobody would believe me. And they'd happen. They'd happen. They'd actually happen. That also casted me as a weirdo, made me feel isolated, all of those things. And I got really scared. I got really scared of who I was, what I was, and had no idea what that meant. And then it became spiritual time. You got to find who you are. You detach from your family, you detach from all those things. All of a sudden, you're a sovereign individual, right?
Right.
Let me tell you, the people that I met, like, I can't, there's some weird people out there, let me tell you, but they woke me up and I'm so grateful. You never know who you're going to meet. It could be the most random person in a parking lot. Shout out to Estella. Yeah, like there's people in my life that I would have never thought would have been catalysts, and they're letting me know all of this information.
Right.
And I'll tell you, like, it wasn't until I was 29, 30 that I was able to acknowledge my guides, even though I'd been doing this for 10 years now. So I still had 6 years of experience guiding people. People would ask me, how do I connect with my guides? I'd be like, I don't know. I don't even know who my guides are. Like, I can't even, like, right. And as soon as I knew what my heritage was, boom, it was like so clear who was letting me know, what was letting me know, how my higher self was, what my childhood was like, why my attitude is the way I am, because my parents, like, a lot of that. And it comes from that space.
Right.
She said, my higher self is so mean. I totally feel you. Like,
I mean, I understand her. I say, because if the like what we say, the regular average person connected to a higher self that was like mine, and they do. And again, if you start to understand the levels, you kind of get it, because they say, depending on how your higher self reacts, you kind of know what level you're on. The way my higher self acts is a higher level.
I believe that.
A higher level. She's not in the goofy level no more. So she's like, nah, bitch, we didn't did this shit way too many times. We're up here.
This is what I'm saying. Is like, it also comes from our own human stubbornness. Like I feel like my higher self genuinely responds in frustration when
Mhm.
it's a lesson that I've been learning over and over again.
Right.
And there's a tolerance there, right? Like
Right.
your soul, let's just clear this up. What do we mean by higher selves for all the little babies listening? Okay, love you, you'll be here soon. Let this activate you.
Yeah.
Like you
It,
have yourself, you're human. Yeah, this is going to blow your mind. So what we're talking about is we're humans, right? Like we have a conscious brain, then we have our soul, which is what's driving us, our soul, and then we have our spirit. Our
mhm.
spirit is like what we're meant to do. And all of these pieces are working together. And then you can imagine it's like a video game. You have like a little avatar. And the little avatar is like, by the way, you're supposed to use like learn gratitude in this situation, and you're not
Absolutely.
being very grateful right now. So let me serve you up all of these experiences that are going to make you really grateful for everything that you have in your life.
Right.
When you become spiritual, you become more aware of that connection, and you can start to have a conversation. Meditation definitely is medication, you guys.
Yeah.
Prayer, outside, getting grounded. For
Right.
some of you, psychedelics, 100%
Oh yeah.
medicinal, 100%. They're ayahuasca,
I'm gonna be doing the
psilocybin.
ayahuasca soon. I
Dude,
actually
I'm ready.
volunteer.
Let's go.
I
Like,
volunteer. There's a place out here called Soul Quest. I volunteer once a month. Actually, this coming up, I'll be volunteering again, but I'll be doing the actual ceremony coming up in October.
I can't wait to see
Yeah.
what you're like afterward.
Yeah, I'm already, but and it's crazy because somebody was like, the level that you're at right now, do you know what's gonna happen when you go under? I was like, oh
Listen,
yeah,
I
I'm
will make
excited.
sure that I let you know